Hello and welcome back to our show, Current Affairs and Overshares. You're with Chloe.
And you're with Billy here on PureFM.
Yes, today we will be talking about some of the top news stories of the week and also having a little bit of a chat while doing it. So this week at the university there has been Pride Week with Team UOP. So yesterday lots of people went out to Purple Wednesday, all dressed in rainbow to celebrate Pride. So, yeah, that was a nice little thing to see yesterday. Loads of people in rainbow wandering the streets of Albert Road and Elm Grove. Also, at the moment, there has been the student elections. So, this morning, walking through the doors into the radio station, it was a bit chaotic, wasn't it, Billy?
Yeah, it was a bit chaotic. Another rainy day for the radio show. I think, what's that, 3 for 3 now that I've come in here with soaked hair and drenched feet. But, you know, it's always good vibes in here as long as it doesn't leak. Though it is leaking in my house at the moment. I had to put some Tupperwares down in the corridor, so hopefully I'll have some full Tupperwares of water when I get home, because I'm assuming the rain's not going to stop. It's actually going to get a lot colder this afternoon. You know, it said later this afternoon it's going to feel like -2.
It felt like -2 this morning, to be fair, when we were battling the rain to get here. I've had my own fair share of issues going on in my house, unfortunately.
Yeah, for once it's not mine. For once it's Chloe's house that's having the issues. Though I feel like my issues are sort of ones that you can be fixed by a plumber or a handyman. Yours needs to be fixed by an exorcist, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, so my house is reasonably normal most of the time. Our landlord's great, he comes around, he fixes everything, but we think we may have a ghost. Now, last year we thought we had a ghost as well. I mean, I was living in Rosalind, so lots of strange things happen anyway, because it was Rosalind Halls. If anyone knows Rosalind Halls, it's not the greatest. When we were there, me and my housemate heard regularly banging between our bedrooms, like in halls, which was already a bit weird, but we thought, oh, maybe it's people upstairs, it's fine. But then the lights would flick on and off when no one was out in the corridor, things like that. And we now think it's followed us into our new house. So, apparently in the kitchen the other day, my friend was cooking, and the spoon she walked away. There was 2 other people in the room, and the spoon flew out of the saucepan that was on the hob across the room. I mean, I wasn't there to witness this, but I'm not surprised. Yeah, scary thoughts. I could be getting haunted. And then after I heard this, I was thinking, because I'm not a very big ghost person, Billy knows that anyone talks about anything to do with horror or ghosts and stuff like that, I'm out of there, aren't I?
Yeah, you're not too much of a ghost hunter yourself, from what I know.
But so far, this ghost does seem to be peaceful, other than, you know, throwing cutlery across the room.
Well, what bits of cutlery is it thrown so far?
It's thrown, obviously, the spoon from the pot, and then the other night I was eating yoghurt in my bed. And
welcome to uni life, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to uni life. And I put the bowl next to my bed, and I turned round. I turned around to go to sleep, and the spoon. I hear a noise. I was like, "What's going on there?" Turn the light on. The spoon is across the room. Now I'm saying I might have flicked it across the room with my duvet or something like that, but that's still weird considering only a few days earlier a different spoon flew across the room.
Yeah, it clearly is a friendly ghost. It's choosing rounded pieces of cutlery. It's when it reaches the knives that you need to chill out, because if it's just flinging spoons at you, that's just mockery. I think it does seem quite friendly.
Maybe it's just got a bit of banter.
Maybe it does.
Yeah. Have you got any stories of the week?
I mean, I haven't got any hauntings as such. I mean, we finally got some things fixed in our house. I actually cleaned up in the house for once, so yeah, everyone can be happy for that. But no, there's not much planned. I mean, I was quite annoyed this morning because I tried to get tickets to a Chelsea game, because I've not been able to go to as many Chelsea games this season because for many reasons, but also because I'm no longer a junior according to Chelsea. I'm now an adult, so instead of paying £15 a ticket, I now have to pay £60 a ticket.
Why would you only be an adult now?
Under 20s is or 20 and under is junior.
Oh right, and you're approaching your 21st, aren't you?
21st birthday very soon. Not to be reminded of it, but yeah. So I've not been able to go to as many games this season, but I've got some money thanks to my birthday coming up. So I thought I'd treat myself to try and go to a Chelsea game, but it's so hard. And the way it works for most games, either it will be they'll release it to people who have gone to the most games already this season, which I'm already sort of scuppered for because I've not been to as many as normal. Like a couple of years ago, I went to about 30 games in a season. It was fine. I could get a ticket to every game, but I can't really do that. And then the other option is they just sort of almost raffle them. You sort of join a queue, and when it reaches 10 in the morning, it just randomly selects people to be able to choose their ticket. And I swear to God, every time I get in just as it's sold out, like literally, I got in this morning. I couldn't go to the toilet, and I couldn't have a shower or anything because I didn't know if I would get in through the queue. So I had to wait around, clenching my bum cheeks, waiting for me to get through the queue. And then when I eventually made it through, there was like I sort of missed the final tickets by mere seconds. So it was not the best way to start the day. But the good news, Chelsea-wise, is that on Sunday, Chelsea play in a cup final at Wembley. Again, unfortunately, I couldn't get tickets, but I will be in The Honest Politician. I will drag my housemate with me. I will be having quite a lot of beer, and I will watch Chelsea lose to Liverpool because
I was going to say against
no
Liverpool,
way.
yeah, it's not going to be a positive.
There's
night.
really no way. Yeah, no. But that's my plans for the weekend, and then next week we're doing a pub quiz.
Yes, we're doing a pub quiz for Billy's birthday.
Yeah.
We started revising already.
Yeah, I need to get on it, and then it's reading week, so everyone will sort of head off in their different directions. Some will stay in Portsmouth, some will go home, and then you're sadly going to have to miss a week of us. But don't worry, next week we'll still be on the air. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right, where do you want to start us off here, Chloe?
I think we should start off with in our current affairs segment with the BAFTAs. So, I mean, a few weeks ago I also did, I think it was the Grammys, was it, that I...
One of them.
But now we're on to the BAFTAs. So, I'm just getting my notes up. So, Oppenheimer had a great time at the BAFTAs. They won 2 awards. Christopher Nolan won Best Director, and Oppenheimer itself won Best Picture. I haven't watched Oppenheimer personally, but if anyone hasn't watched it, it was about a man that was behind the atomic bomb. You've watched it, haven't you, Billy?
I've watched it in the cinema twice.
Twice?
It was that good. Yeah, no, I thought it was a really good film, and there was sort of a big debate beforehand as to who might win the BAFTA and the Oscars and etc. They thought it would be between Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer and Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, which is another film that I saw in cinema. And they are both excellent films, I must say. I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon is, I think, 3.5 hours long, so you do need to sort of book half the day off to watch it. But it was a really good film, and I think they made the right decision, though. I remember speaking to people about it after watching both films and saying, look, I just think the way Oppenheimer was sort of set out and the sort of cinematography of it, everything about it, I think it just about pipped Killers of the Flower Moon for me. So I think they made the right decision. But there were some really good films this year. In fact, this year's film so we got back into watching films, I would say, this year.
Yeah, I think I did as well. I mean, I didn't watch a huge amount. I watched Barbie, I watched Saltburn. I'm still meaning to watch Priscilla of this year. That was January. Yeah, we were... Apparently, Les Mis has come out with a new, it's like a new version of the Les Mis musical film, where the sound quality is better. Which, I mean, I'm sure is set to be popular.
We know people that want to watch it, so yeah. No, I think that they're doing that. I don't know how long they've been doing that, but they have started showing sort of previously released films in the cinema. Because I went to see Interstellar at the cinema a couple months ago, and that came out like 10 years ago, whatever. They're doing showings of Inception at our local cinema, which again is nearly 15 years old.
I think it's quite a nice idea.
I'd like it. I mean, it clearly works because, you know, if you missed it when it came out initially and it's one of your favourite films, why wouldn't you want to go to see it live in the cinema?
I'd love to see a High School Musical again. I think it'd be great fun. Moving on, Poor Things. I've never actually heard of Poor Things, but it basically is about a grown woman who has the brain of a child. The woman who plays it is Emma Stone, and the film won 5 awards. I haven't written down what awards they won, but 5 awards is quite a lot, I think, for the BAFTAs.
I think my parents have seen it. I think they said it was good, but I didn't realise it was 5 BAFTAs level.
Yeah, maybe we need to take a look. My other one I've written down is A Zone of Interest, and it is a domestic biopic, which is about sort of the outskirts of Auschwitz. It won 3 awards, and producer James Wilson sort of spoke about how the film wanted to cover the perils of selective empathy, which I think is quite important at the moment, just in terms of all the different sort of conflicts that are going on in the world. He said that a friend wrote to him saying, I couldn't stop thinking about the walls we construct our lives, that we construct in our lives, which we choose not to look behind, which I think was it is quite poignant, I think, for especially for at the moment. And I'm not surprised it won three awards.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like extremely happy viewing, but
No.
I'm sure it's very good. I think I'll bring my box of tissues to watch that if I see that.
That's all I've written down for now about the BAFTAs. Have you got any updates on any sort of football or?
Well, football-wise, there's a huge cup final, which I recommend everyone to watch Chelsea lose that game, because we definitely will lose. I mean, Chelsea played Liverpool a couple of years ago in 2 cup finals at Wembley, and I went to both games at Wembley to see Chelsea play in these 2 cup finals against Liverpool, and both games were 0-0, and both games Liverpool won on penalties. So I'm a little bit scarred on that basis. But in other sports, there's been some darts on at the moment. I believe the Darts Premier League starts again tonight. But in the Premier League, there's more fixtures this weekend. It's a really close title race. And F1 has just begun testing again, because the new F1 season will start in about 2 weeks, I believe. Its first few races are on a Saturday. So it's getting to that point where sort of the colder weather's fading away, and some of the more traditionally known summer sports are sort of coming back into life.
Ooh, summer.
Please, can we have some more? I thought it was getting warmer.
Soggy from the rain.
Yeah.
I just want to think about summer now.
I know, we get teased by like one random good day a week.
Yeah.
Where we think maybe this is it, but no, it's back to the rain and inundated in water. Something else that's been inundated with water is Charlotte the Stingray. Charlotte the Stingray.
Oh, that was a good segue.
Charlotte the Stingray is about 12 foot deep in water, and we've got great news. Charlotte the Stingray is pregnant.
Woo!
Congratulations, Charlotte. She's about 2 weeks away from giving birth. The only caveat in this is that unfortunately she hasn't lived or been in the same water as a male stingray for 8 years. So, well,
fair enough.
You know, yeah, honestly, I can respect it. But that clearly raises some questions as who the hell the father is. And unfortunately, Jeremy Kyle is not on the air anymore, so we're going to have to do this debate ourselves.
That would have been a fun little segment. Jeremy Kyle, this like animal's life.
Wheel the stingray out.
So yeah, what could be the options, Billy? What could be why is she pregnant?
Well, that's the thing. They didn't realise she was pregnant at first. They thought they saw her getting a bit lumpy, and they thought maybe she had stingray cancer. But actually, turns out she was pregnant. The only thing that she shares her little aquarium tank with in North Carolina, I believe it is, are 2 white spotted bamboo sharks. I didn't know a bamboo shark was a thing, but they sound pretty sick. But it's sharing with 2 spotted bamboo sharks named Larry and Mo.
It's a love triangle.
Maybe it is. And Charlotte has bite marks on her, little nibble marks. She's got little hickeys on her.
Ooh.
And apparently that is a sign of shark mating. So it's led some people to think, are we about to see Shark Ray? You see on like Film 4 and like
Hybrid.
rubbish film channels, you see like Sharkzilla or like Tyrannosaurus crocodile.
That would be scary though. Seeing like you see a shark when you're out swimming, and then not only is it a shark, it stings as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, those like awful films where it's like mega tarantula. Like it sounds like something from a film Shark Ray, but unfortunately, some people have been poo-pooing on this idea. Katie Lyons, who's a research scientist, says it's impossible for the shark to be the dad. And she said we should set the record straight that there aren't some Shark Ray shenanigans happening here. But look, what's the alternative? Shark Ray Jesus, essentially, because
Stingray Jesus.
Charlotte,
Wow.
the Virgin Charlotte.
So that's they haven't really got an explanation there.
The explanation is that what they think has happened is that there's a very, very rare phenomenon called parthenogenesis, which is a rare form of asexual reproduction where the female produces an embryo without like any sperm being needed. Instead, sort of smaller cells form at the same time. They sort of have similar DNA and they just sort of spawn in here and merge with the egg. But what I find interesting is if this happens, the child won't actually be a clone of the mother. It will still be slightly different, and I don't quite know how that makes sense.
I don't understand.
But what we'll find out in 2 weeks. Is it going to be, something biological, something, a rare asexual form of reproduction, or is this thing going to pop out with a little stingray halo on its head?
Oh wow, I'm at the edge of my seat with that one. I want to know.
We need to get on this. I've already got someone buying frankincense.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I'll get the gold.
Yeah.
You just need to get the myrrh.
Yeah.
We'll pop down, put our scuba gear on.
Yeah. Maybe we should go interview the stingray.
Oh, just wouldn't it be so cool though if Shark Ray turned up?
That would be so cool.
Like it was such a good mystery until these pesky scientists had to come in and say, maybe something scientific has happened.
Right, I think we're going to chuck on a tune. I'm going to chuck on Babe Rexha and David Guetta, 1 in a Million, and then when we're back, we'll go on to slightly more serious topics.
We'll have some hard-hitting news.
Yeah, some hard-hitting news. You know us. Right, see you later.
Crash the car again, the same mistakes again. Don't wanna hurt you like I did, 'cause I'm not waiting for you, but I don't want to hurt you. All alone again, it hurts my heart again. I think my blood is running thin. I'm away again, it hurts my head again. Don't wanna be away from your skin, 'cause I'm not waiting for you, but I don't want to hurt you. Guess that's how my life will go. At least we're together though. Together though. Together though. Together though. Hurt myself again. I thought you'd notice it. Don't wanna fix it like you did, 'cause I don't want to let you know. I've been thinking of letting you go. Guess that's how the story ends. At least we're together again. Together again. Together again. Together again. I'm okay by myself. I'm doing great, but we'd be better together. Better together. Together though. Together though. Together again.
Sweet. And we are back on Pure FM. We gave you a little teaser of the next song there, ready for you to listen to.
One that you should have heard the first time.
Look, we're on week 3?
Week 3. This is the first time I've been in charge of playing the music, so I'm just getting the hang of it, guys. I'm sorry about that.
Fourth time's the charm next week. Anyway, serious news. Well, I say serious news. We've obviously had the death of one of Putin's most outspoken critics this week, Alexei Navalny. I want to preface this by, this is obviously an extremely tragic event, but Russia's sort of notion around how this has happened, it's hard not to find it comedic. Alexei Navalny was a heavy critic of Putin. He was in a Siberian penal colony, which was called.
Sounds fun.
I don't think he found it fun.
No, I don't think he did.
The colony is called Polar Wolf Prison. Like, if that isn't a cool name for a prison. Unfortunately, it's a cool name to hear about, but it's probably not where you want to be told that you're going. He was in prison after he got arrested when he flew back to Russia after recovering from a nerve agent attack, which obviously was nothing to do with Russia. It's not, not
Just
them at all.
Novichok.
Just a little bit of Novichok. It happens to the best of us. He collapsed on a plane and was taken very ill, nearly died. And it was found that it was this nerve agent, Novichok, that he was administered. In fact, apparently he duped an agent into admitting that they put it in his underwear in his hotel, which I just think it's unnecessary from the agent, because if you're going to Novichok a man, do it with some pride. Put it on his shirt. You don't have to go do the underwear.
Straight to the balls.
Straight to the undercarriage. It's really that was unfair, but fair play to this man, because he recovered and then decided, what I'm going to do? I'm going to fly back to Russia, because he wants Putin out. He flew back, instantly got arrested, put in Siberia, as you'd expect, and then absolutely tragic scenes last week. He was just taking a short walk and he felt unwell, collapsed and died. And
short walk in his prison.
Yeah, around the prison. He wasn't just like let out for the day.
I was gonna say.
No, he was going for a
sprint, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he was going for a short walk around the prison. He felt a bit unwell, collapsed, and he's died. And prison authorities have said that he's died from sudden death syndrome. So
that is horrible.
I mean, they're not wrong. It was definitely sudden death, but I don't know if you can count that as a syndrome.
As a medical.
Yeah. Nobody knows where his body is.
They need to do some tests, don't they?
Yes, they need to do some tests. His wife and his mother want access to the body, but they said we'll hand over the body just after we finished our investigation. By the way, we've extended the length of the investigation indefinitely. The investigation's never ending. So it's just crazy times, essentially. Obviously, just in case Vladimir Putin is listening, I don't want to insult his government, because I've heard he is a big PureFM listener, but it is quite clear, I think, what may or may not have happened. The UK has now frozen the assets of 6 of the prison bosses where he died. Good old Britain, good old Blighty, with a vicious sanction, that is. They've just said, you can't spend any more money, you little prison bosses. And then people were mourning his passing in St. Petersburg this week, to pay tribute to him and the work that he did. 200 people were arrested, and then they were all arrested, taken to jail, and out of nowhere, now every single one, now they've been released, they've all signed up for the military. What a shocker. That. It's absolutely crazy. Well, look, obviously some have come out and said that they were threatened with the breaking of their fingers if they didn't sign up for the military. Now, I would find that very hard to believe. Clearly, they've just gone, you know what, actually, I take it all back. I want to fight for my country. Send me to the military. But all of those people have now gone to the military. And as well as that, the man's wife, her X account, formerly known as Twitter, got suspended for her tweets. But it was just an error. It was just an error, said Elon Musk. They didn't mean to, and it's been since put back up.
Bit of a quickly evolving story, isn't it?
It is a quickly evolving story, and it's just crazy to think that things like this can still happen so blatantly in the 21st century. Because, again, I don't want to offend our number one listener, Vladimir Putin, but it's quite clear what's happened here, and I think that's quite obvious. But it's so obvious, and yet no one can do anything about it.
I feel like the Russian government as well. Like, we're not going to try and say that any foul play 100% happened. But it's quite extraordinary when you hear all this evidence and hear all the things that have happened coming from Western media, and that no one in Russia can do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't even try to hide. They've got their own little calling card with the Novichok. They don't try and mix it up. They've got their little calling card. You know how some like serial killers would like leave a little note or something like that, have a little cipher. They chalk you up, and not only did they could have easily, done whatever and said, oh, it was suicide. No, they're brazen enough to go sudden death syndrome. What are you going to do about it? It's a crazy world we live in, and it amazes me how they can convince most of their population that their country is the democratic and free one, and our nation is a dictatorship where no one has any rights. But at least I have the right to go about my day and put my boxers on without fear of chocking them.
You don't know. Anything could change after this radio show. Everything could change.
I know. That's why we need to make it abundantly clear that we have nothing against Russia.
Well,
we would never suspect Russia would do this.
I thought I'd make it equal by being a bit, maybe arguably critical of Western governments with our next story about Julian Assange. So, if you don't know who Julian Assange is, he was a journalist and he was the founder of WikiLeaks. And if you haven't heard of WikiLeaks named sources and publicised thousands of classified military and diplomatic documents during the Afghanistan and Iraq wars about the US. So Julian Assange at the moment is facing prosecution on espionage charges. He's actually in the UK at the moment, but if he is prosecuted, he will be extradited back to the US, where him and his wife have both said that Julian Assange would be in danger because there has been, according to the BBC, something the BBC reported, that there was plans to basically off him, basically.
Yeah.
That I don't know the background of that. But these classified documents that Julian Assange released, basically what the US prosecutors are saying is it put many members of the military and many members of the military in danger because it named sources and named who was releasing all this information. So some of the documents had actually included notes about state criminality. This included torture, just extrajudicial killings, and just overall not very great stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that they definitely didn't want out. So lots of people have it's a bit divided because lots of people in the US want to see him convicted because the US say, well, he put our military in danger. He's basically gone against the state. Whereas journalists are saying, well, some journalists are saying that Julian Assange is an example of how free press should behave. These documents should have been released. That's up to you to decide. I think for me personally, I think releasing documents about state criminality, I think, should always be allowed, and you shouldn't be scared of prosecution, because that isn't a free society if you're scared of prosecution by telling the truth. Obviously, at the heart of all journalists' role is the truth. So that's my opinion on it. What do you think?
I think it's obviously a very difficult subject, but I think obviously freedom of information, we're journalism students, we can appreciate the needs for free access to information in our society. But I think a lot of the blame can go down that if you don't want classified information about your military being leaked, you need to do a good enough job that it doesn't. And obviously I don't know all
So just not do the bad stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, if you do nothing wrong, you have nothing to hide. But yeah, I think obviously I don't know all the ins and outs of what was published and how it was acquired, but I feel like if you want to keep something secret, it's up to you to keep it secret. If someone can find it out through legal means, I don't know again the legislation, the ins and outs of it, but if someone can acquire information through legal means, then that's your own fault for allowing that to happen.
I don't think it was legal means.
Well, then in that case,
I think it was just like leaked documents.
But if you get given information, then it's not your issue to publish it. It's
If the
whoever
information-
leaked it that should be being tried.
If classified documents about the Afghanistan and Iraq wars can be accessed, I feel as though maybe they should have been accessed.
And
Should
if
have
you-
been accessed, should have been public.
Exactly, and if you're handed a bit of information saying, I can't tell you how I got this, but this is some information, it's not your fault that information's been given to you. You have access to that information. It's up to you, in my opinion, what you do with it. Obviously, there are moral and ethical decisions you have to make regarding those documents, but at the end of the day, moral and ethical aren't legal. And if you want to try someone over that, you should be finding the person who leaked those documents, would be my opinion, without knowing obviously all the ins and outs of which but it is quite a chaotic story. I haven't seen.
I think what would have possibly saved Julian Assange in this instance would be of not naming the sources, because that obviously put people in danger, and that's what I think the main issue is with this case. But again, I don't know the ins and outs. I'd encourage you to do more research on that.
Yeah,
So,
I think
yeah.
it'll be a developing story, definitely. So maybe we'll have an update a few weeks down the line.
So I'm just going to chuck on another song. This time it will actually be Babe Rexha and David Guetta, 1 in a Million. So here you go.
Kept you waiting.
You're my one in a million. It's like someone picked you out of the sky. Maybe I met you for a reason, and I can't believe that we're both alive at the same time. Is this heaven now? Am I dreaming now? Am I dreaming? You're my one in a million, and I can't believe that we're both alive at the same time. I can't believe that we're both alive at the same time. You got me speeding through the red lights. Yeah, I'm on my way. We do it 'cause it feels right. Yeah, you got me so high. A trip to paradise. No lie. A trip to paradise. You're my one in a million. It's like someone picked you out of the sky. Maybe I met you for a reason, and I can't believe that we're both alive at the same time. Is this heaven now? Am I dreaming now? Am I dreaming? You're my one in a million, and I can't believe that we're both alive at the same time. Is this heaven now? Am I dreaming now? Is this heaven now? Am I dreaming? You're my one in a million, and I can't believe that we're both alive at the same time. One in a million, and I can't believe that we're
Hiya, and we're back with two more stories. So our what number is it? 2, 4. This is our 6th story of the day. We're full of stories today.
You are getting treated today.
You are getting treated today. So my story is about the Trident missile. I can't speak today, guys. I'm so sorry. Trident missile test failure that happened the other day during this week. So basically, the Trident missile is one of our biggest missiles. I believe it's one of our one of our main nuclear deterrents, basically. Whopper, apparently. And in rather embarrassing turn of events, the missile actually plopped into the sea at the launch. And that launch was attended by Grant Shapps, the Defence Secretary. And yeah, it was sent off. I think it left the submarine that it was meant to shoot out of, and an anonymous source literally said it just went plop. Which, I mean, I quite like the description. I quite like the whole Ministry of Defence paired with the word plop. I think it's quite funny, actually.
I can agree with that. It just plopped in.
It just plopped in.
It happens to the best of us.
But as much as it might be quite amusing to hear this, Ministry of Defence really isn't very happy about this information going out. Basically, it was a bit of a leak. I think it was a leak of information that this happened. I assume because it happened in the Atlantic. I'm assuming the press were like there. I don't know how it works. But the Ministry of Defence have basically said this wouldn't happen at war. So don't be scared. Don't be worried. If anything ever happens, it won't just plop. It will do its job.
That should be its catchphrase. It won't just plop. It will do its job.
They said there will be no implications for the reliability of the wider Trident missile systems. And a Ministry of Defence spokesperson has also added that that this leak may actually, this leak by the press could have caused wider issues in terms of the UK national security. And they'd actually intended to strategically release the information about this happening. Yeah, not very positive.
So does it put us under threat? Because Putin, for example, can look at us and
saying,
go, their stuff just goes plop. We've got no issue here. We can make stuff go boom. We can make stuff go bang. And all they can do
and
is
they plop.
They plop.
But no, by the sounds of it, like, we still have a nuclear deterrent that is safe, secure, and effective. They were just a bit. Ministry of Defence were just basically saying the press were being a bit silly to release this information without all the information, because it could have put the UK under threat.
Yeah.
Even though they claim they weren't under threat at any point in this. So it's a bit sort of conflicted ideas, really.
They don't really like us journalists, do they?
No. I think they do like us when we're like sharing positive things.
Yeah.
And then when they go plop, they're not too happy with us asking.
When they go plop, they tell us to stop. That's what they add that to their list of catchphrases.
So not only was Ministry of Defence, having a bit of a rough week this week, I think the whole of Parliament was having a bit of a rough week this week.
Yes, that missile test was arguably the biggest story of the week until the chaos that unfolded yesterday in the House of Commons. To quote the famous clip, "What on earth is going on in the House of Commons?" And it's something I didn't really know to begin with. I was seeing chaos unfold on my timeline. I was seeing
thinking,
videos.
I wanted to go to bed.
Yeah.
Now I've got more to add to the radio show.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you what I did. I went, sod it, I am going to bed, and I went to bed. But I've read this morning and caught up because I'm a uni student. It would be poor for me to wake up any time before 11 in the morning. But I'm going to try and explain what happened, because there was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of shouting, there were even some tears, there was walkouts, there were even a couple tears, there was walkouts, there was everything happened in the House of Commons, somewhere that we visited a couple months ago, so we know exactly what it's like. So buckle in, put your seatbelt on, and concentrate, because I'm going to try and explain what happened in such a succinct way as possible. Okay. Basically, the SNP, the Scottish Nationalist Party, are allowed 3 opposition days every Parliament session. Okay, so every term of Parliament, essentially, SNP are allowed 3 opposition days, which means that on an opposition day they get to choose the topic of discussion for debate that day. They're the third largest party. They get 3 opposition days. Those 3 days they get to choose what's debated, what's voted on, so that everyone gets involved. Now they chose for their opposition day yesterday to debate the Israel-Hamas war, and they wanted to lay down their motion for an immediate ceasefire, which is something they've been calling for a very long time. But because it was their opposition day, they could lay it down and get an actual vote on their motion for an immediate ceasefire, which pressured Labour to sort of shift their position, because Labour have currently held the position similar to the government, where they need a humanitarian pause, not a ceasefire, in their own words. But this sort of movement from SNP sort of made Labour realise that a lot of their MPs were going to rebel against them in this vote and vote with the SNP. It would lead to a lot of resignations. It would lead to almost a sort of uprising in their party, which is something they really don't need in an election year.
The last thing they need or want.
Exactly. So they decided what they were going to do is they're going to table an amendment to the SNP's motion of ceasefire, just changing the words a bit to make it sort of fit their own position a bit more. But essentially, they decided to agree that a ceasefire should happen, but they tabled an amendment to sort of change the motion into their own words, have it in their own words, make it their own.
Is that to make sure that the Labour Party follow the whip and don't go against...
Exactly, meaning that the Labour MPs would be able to vote for it and it would be all okay. There wouldn't be any resignations. There would be no uprising because it was technically Labour's sort of words. They'd amended it to make it their own, essentially. Now, convention says that an opposition movement or an opposition motion cannot be amended by another opposition party. It can only be amended by the government. So say Labour put forward a motion, only the Tories can change it. Or say, the SNP couldn't change a Labour motion. That's the convention. That's the rules. An opposition party can't change another opposition party's motion. However, the Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle, allowed for both Labour and the government's amendments to be voted on and allowed them to sort of be debated, which completely went against the convention. And he said he did that to allow as many options as possible on a very sensitive topic. But it was not good for his own reputation, and it made a lot of people very angry because there were reports that Labour essentially said to him, if you don't break convention and let us have our amendment sort of put forward here, then what's going to happen is at the next election, after the next election's happened, we're going to have you removed. We're not going to back you at the next time a speaker is decided. So essentially, you're going to lose, and you need us, so you're going to lose your job if you don't help us out here, which is obviously something that the speaker can't really do because he's supposed to be completely impartial and unbiased. So that not only angered a lot of people that there was, arguably blackmail maybe going on, those were just reports, but also the SNP were extremely angry because what it meant was that on their own opposition day, they were no longer going to be able to vote on their own motion, because what happened was the Conservatives withdrew their amendment and abstained out of outrage. So Labour's amendment got passed and essentially changed what the SNP were trying to put forward, meaning that the SNP no longer would be voting on their own sort of day where it's up to them what happens.
Right.
It had been changed to essentially make it, they weren't voting on their own thing anymore. It was sort of made a Labour Day.
They weren't very happy.
They weren't very happy with that. There was a massive walkout. They demanded the Speaker return to the chamber and explain himself immediately, which he did. He eventually returned. He apologised. He said he regretted the way things happened. He was sorry for the decision he made. He was just trying to give as many voices as possible, have as many options on the table as possible for a debate on a very serious topic, which is very true. And I have always liked Lindsay Hoyle. I think he's been a good speaker since he took over. But this wasn't enough for a lot of people, and the SNP have called for him to resign as Speaker. There's been a no confidence motion tabled in him with over 50 MPs already signing it. Now, in terms of how serious this is for him, 50 MPs isn't going to force him to resign, but it is sort of, accepted that it puts a lot of pressure on him because, a lot of people, if they know that there are a lot of people that don't want them there, and if they feel like they don't have the power or the confidence of the job anymore, then they will have to resign. So he is really fighting for his job right now. Even if he's not forced out the door, there's a good chance that he may politely step out the door over this topic, because the SNP are outraged over him essentially breaking the rules to allow Labour to have their way.
So what has actually happened with the vote? Is the vote still gone ahead?
The vote, I believe, has been passed on Labour's amendment. So Labour's amendment's happened, but essentially what it means for Gaza at the moment is absolutely nothing. Like, nothing's changed. It's just a a vote. It's just a vote in a room in London, and it's not going to have any significant impact, or hasn't yet, on the ground. And a lot of charities and a lot of people related to Gaza have been all equally outraged, saying, look, while these people are playing funny fellas politics and back and forth tit for tat, you were delaying the vote, you've changed this, you've blackmailed them, we've done this, we're walking out. Nothing's happening to actually rectify the situation in Gaza. So yeah, I would say it was an embarrassing day for British politics in general. I don't think there's anyone that's come out looking good, and anyone coming out looking squeaky clean.
It just looks, I think, a bit maybe privileged. I don't know.
It's just a bit.
It's to have the luxury of arguing over semantics about this whole thing. Is just I think a little bit ridiculous.
It's like kids fighting on a playground when there's just bigger. There's the bigger picture, and yes, each side has their own view and each side has a valid points, definitely. But come on, there's people dying, and so yeah, it was that people were comparing it to sort of the prime sort of Brexit debating days where there was chaos always about it. It was sort of that level of hecticness. But yeah, I think an overall sort of an embarrassment to the British politics.
Well, yeah, especially with the whole Trident flop.
yeah. So it's been a double whammy. It's not been great for British politics. Yeah,
across the globe, I think embarrassing politics.
Yeah, I think what's happening to the world, guys?
What's happening to the world? And with that, I'm going to play Fifth Harmony.
Yeah.
So you can think about what's happening to the world
have some
and
time
what the
to
point
dwell
of
on it.
life is. While you listen to Fifth Harmony, that's my girl. Hello. I believe I'm back on air now.
Of course.
Of course. Apologies again. That was not Fifth Harmony. That was Dead Poet Society.
We're just testing your music knowledge today.
We're just seeing if you know. It's just seeing if you're awake and you're listening.
Exactly. Exactly. This is your little music quiz has been completed for the week.
Yeah.
Though I've got a quiz to face of my own by the sounds of it.
Yes, I've got an interesting current affairs quiz.
Ooh.
Ooh. So this quiz is basically about the story that came out this week that Trafalgar Square will be adding a new plinth in the future. If you don't know what a plinth is, just basically a statue, new statue. And there's 7 artists that have had their ideas shortlisted to be on this pedestal in Trafalgar Square. So these are contemporary artists, and the models of their proposals have gone on display at the National Gallery. And then basically they're inviting you to have your say. What do you think about it? And in this game show, I will be playing True or False, where Billy must guess which ideas in this list that I've compiled are a genuine shortlist and which I've made up. Now, we're not doing this to be disrespectful to the artist. Art is,
subjective.
in the eye of the beholder. But we will be explaining the context behind the ones that are actually going to be a plinth. But yes, I've made a list, and I'm so interested to see if what Billy thinks is true and what is false.
I've got to guess. Is it being nominated for being on a plinth? Do I genuinely think that this is going to be nominated to be on display in Trafalgar Square?
Okay. So the first option is spam. Will a tin of spam be made into a plinth in Trafalgar Square?
A tin of spam. As much as I would love the idea of a huge tin of spam, a whole slab of deli meat on Trafalgar Square, it can't be right. It can't. I'm trying to think of what like British context could
be a tin. But the tin is up on the plinth.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what British context and like meaning could go behind it. It could show British produce, but I feel like there'd be better meat options than I'm going to say that it can't be. I'm saying no.
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
But I feel like that's a weird thing for you to make up, a tin of spam. But I'm going to stick with my answer. I can't believe that it would be.
It is in fact false. It will not be.
Okay, thank God.
It will not
for
be
that.
on a plinth for Trafalgar Square.
Thank God.
I thought you'd fall for that one.
I nearly did, just as like it was so outrageous that it should be.
You didn't think I would have thought of it.
Yeah, I was like, no. Thank God for that. Yeah, there's better options.
The second thing that could or could not be on a plinth is a black cat.
A black cat. You see, that I can imagine more. I would be curious to see how they would make this cat black. Because I would say that when it's made out of brass, I would say a black cat would also look very similar to a brown cat and a gold cat.
It just has to be, the vibe it gives off.
Black cat vibes.
Yeah.
Okay. What? I'm trying to think of, because I'm assuming they're all, have context around them as to why they deserve to be on the plinth.
Some
and
of
not
them,
just...
the context might not make sense at all.
Okay. So, I mean, at the moment, it just sounds like someone's walked around their house and chosen items to nominate. You know what? You wouldn't expect me to do 2 false in a row. I'm going false again.
You're going false again?
I'm going false again.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
It's actually true. A black cat has been shortlisted to be a plinth in Trafalgar Square. This is such a fun game.
Have we got any? What's the reasoning?
So the context behind that is a black cat aims to reflect the link between Trafalgar Square and the history of social change, obviously. So the black cat signifies how women in the suffrage movement were portrayed as cats in the media.
Suffragette movement.
No, it's a suffrage movement.
Suffrage movement. Is it the suffrage movement?
It can be called the suffragette or like the movement of suffrage.
Wow, you see,
honestly,
I'm learning more here today.
Talking about the suffragette movement, and a man is mansplaining to me, guys.
Yeah, try and gaslight you into believing it.
Exactly. But no, I think it's quite a good idea. Obviously, I think as well, I feel like cats are quite a staple in English culture.
I don't know. Look, I'm not gonna knock the suffragette movement. I would rather have seen a suffragette on a plinth.
I'm sure they've got that somewhere.
But you know what? The black cat will do. I just want to see how they're gonna make it black. That's what I'm curious to see.
Right. So the next thing that could be on a plinth is an ice cream van.
Oh, that is quite a British thing. That is quite a British thing. I wish I loved ice cream more than I do. I'm going off on a tangent of how much I love ice cream. It's like a little 99, bang, with a flake.
With a flake,
cold.
Yeah.
Best ice cream I ever had though was I had lime and chocolate ice cream.
Lime and chocolate. Was that in your travels?
Travels to the Isle of Wight, yeah.
Oh wow.
But an ice cream van. Look, you know what? I'll back it. I think there could be an ice cream van. It shows British industry. I'm going true. Final answer.
Can I just ask you before I tell you the answer? What is your favourite ice cream? You can't say there's chocolate and lime one. Like, what is your favourite go-to ice cream?
Out of like the big hitters.
Out of whatever you feel.
I feel like I shouldn't choose vanilla, but I do. I'll tell you what, I like honeycomb. Honeycomb is nice.
Oh, honeycomb is good. I think I'm a vanilla. I'm quite basic.
I was gonna say vanilla, but then you'd make fun of me.
No, I like vanilla.
I've bottled it there because I was fully ready to say vanilla, and then I was like, oh, she's gonna make a joke about I'm vanilla. But
no, I like. But you know when the vanilla's got the little like bits of like black, you know, the the vanilla bean or whatever.
Yeah, the little Madagascar vanilla.
Yeah. Oh.
So good.
So good.
So
anyway,
nice.
You still saying it's gonna be on a plinth?
I reckon it's on the plinth.
It is on a plinth. Well, it may be on a plinth. It's actually one of the front runners to be on a plinth.
Rightly so.
So this ice cream van is not as you'd expect, actually. So it tells the story of the artist's father who made a voyage from India to the UK on board the MS Battery. At the centre of her statue is her father's ice cream van. On top of the ice cream van, there's a tiger, because that's something to do with the artist's work. She always has a tiger involved. And yeah, it's meant to show sort of perseverance. I'm assuming for immigrants coming to the UK and how starting up like companies and stuff. Quite interesting, really. I quite like it.
I wouldn't have guessed that. And I think if you told me that the idea was an ice cream van with a tiger on top, I probably would have said false. But
it doesn't seem like it would be real. But by the statue examples in the National Gallery, it's not going to be bronze. It's like going to have colours. It's going to have
colours.
Pinky ice cream van.
Oh, that's quite wholesome. You know what? I think that's good. I thought I like that. In fact, the only thing better than that is if they'd actually stuck an ice cream van on a plinth that people could buy ice creams from.
But only people above 6 foot could go buy this.
Only 12-foot giants can buy these ice creams. Otherwise, they just have to throw them out the window.
So, moving on. Will a puffin be on a plinth?
Okay. Right. A puffin is, again, it's very British bird symbol. Though, my thought process behind this is that yesterday we were discussing puffins, and I think that that's what made it cross your mind and use it as an example, so I'm going to go with false.
You are correct. I was running out of ideas, and I remember us talking about puffins yesterday. So
Chloe did also say that I looked like a puffin.
I said his vibe was like a puffin.
I'll take it, you know. Puffins are lovely birds.
No, they're quite a sweet little bird, aren't they? So
quite big.
Moving on. Will a sweet potato be on a plinth?
You see, again, how are they going to make me believe that this potato is any sweeter than a normal potato?
What do you mean? It's sweet potato, like a different type of...
Yeah, I know, but how can I can't tell it's orange from the... I can't go, that statue's orange on the inside.
I think they are making, like, them in colours this year.
Yeah, but
like,
is it like an open potato?
Well, I don't know.
Miscellaneous details.
Well, I don't feel like that's relevant. You know, I would personally love that though, like a cheesy jacket potato on a plinth.
Spudman would love that.
Oh, Spudman would love that.
Spudman needs that. I would say, even though it's a sweet potato and not a normal potato, potatoes are very Irish. I don't know if they'd want Irish symbols there, so I'm going to say false again.
It's true.
It's true. Get the sweet potatoes
again,
out.
Another front runner. So the sweet potato, the humble potato from Peru that's orange. It's meant to represent how this sweet potato has travelled around the world, and as it would be in Trafalgar Square, it would represent how global Trafalgar Square is and how global London is, and how this potato represents all the global conversations that are happening. I think it's quite sweet.
I think it is sweet. I mean, I'll put it out there. I think every single explanation for these nominees is an absolute load of rubbish. I think the meaning behind them is entirely valid, but the actual item they've chosen is kind of like, I think there are better items than a sweet potato to give that meaning.
Thinking there's better metaphors.
That's just my opinion. I mean, I do creative writing, so I know more than anyone how much waffle some arts-related people produce, and that is some pure waffle. But I like the sentiment.
So my next one, I'm going to do an either or because
Either
we're
or.
going quite over time here. But either or, a horse covered in seaweed, or David Beckham's right foot.
So two very similar ones then. A horse covered in seaweed or David Beckham's right foot. Well, I think one is what most women would want to have, and I think one is what most men would want to have.
I don't. Which one are you thinking for men? Which one are you thinking for women?
Most men would want David Beckham's right foot.
Oh, I mean,
most women would probably want David Beckham's torso and his head, but probably not his right
where
foot.
you were going with that. I was really confused.
No, men would want Beckham's right foot.
Right,
Imagine being able
right.
to swaz one in from 40 yards out. Whereas, and surely women would want a horse with like seaweed. That's a pretty cool horse. I think that's a pretty cool thing to have. Which one? I feel like if it was Beckham's right foot, I would have seen it online, and I feel like there'd be more debate over whose right foot should be there. And I think a horse with some seaweed is the exact sort of rubbish that an artist would come up with, and come up with a random backstory about how the horse gallop freely in the fields, but also this happens in the sea, so it's got seaweed on it, or something about a seahorse. And I don't know why they can't just put a seahorse, but let's go for a horse with some seaweed on it.
You are correct. It is a horse covered in seaweed.
I know my artist waffle.
All the others, I've understood the waffle behind it. With this one, I don't entirely understand. So the history it's meant to show is of the conflict between public sculpture, and the use of public space. So the conflict of nature, I guess, and productivity and sculpture.
Anyone can be an artist, Jesus.
It is a very nice looking horse covered in seaweed. It's like glass and it's like a weird shape.
What I wish they did is they come up with something cool like that. They go, okay, a horse with some seaweed, make it glass. That looks cool. And then nominate it and go, I've nominated this because it looks darn sick.
Yeah, that's the only explanation.
Yeah, that's all I need to hear, and then I'm voting for it.
I like that. So that's the end of the game, but I'll explain the two other options.
Take away.
So the Honero bird, which is an emblem of Argentina. That's one of the options, and also a bronze sculpture of a mixed-race woman, and that was aiming to depict the every woman, as the features of this woman is a mix of a range of different countries. So it's meant to show, the globalization of.
See, that's my favourite one because it's quite clear what it is. The explanation's clear. I like that.
But I do feel as though I do like the idea, but I feel as though sculptures are often people.
It's true.
I feel like I like the ice cream van. I don't really like the colours of the ice cream van. I think when I imagine a plinth, I imagine gold.
Gold? You want the
or
gold ice cream
like
van?
bronze.
Christ.
Going up market.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're running over slightly, but I'm sure you're loving our voices, so we'll run over a little bit more. And it wouldn't be fair unless I did a little game show in return. Obviously, Britain, not only is it famous for its ice cream vans and sweet potatoes, but it's also famous for its strangely named locations. We've got a lot of weird places in our country. I mean, there's a village right near to where I live called Upper Dicker. We've got Upper Dicker, Lower Dicker, Middle Dicker.
Wow.
All nearby. We've got some good names.
I've got a finger in Hoe.
You've got
There's a place near to me called Finger in Hoe. There's also right next to my college, Butt Lane. I think that's quite funny.
I think Finger in Hoe is perfect for Essex. I'm going to give you some place names, and you got to tell me whether it's a load of waffle or whether there is genuinely a British village or town called this place. Okay.
The thought of you sitting here making up the ones that aren't true, just amuses me.
Wet Wang.
Wet Wang.
Wet Wang.
I feel like that. I feel like this is true. Like Wet Wang. I reckon it's like a southern town. I reckon maybe. I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna go with true.
Wet Wang. It's a real thing. Real place. What else have we got? We can go. A lower swell.
Lower swell.
A lower swell.
I thought this is something that you'd make up. I can just imagine you thinking this is like, she's going to definitely think this is true, so I'm going with false.
Unfortunately, it's lower swell is real.
Oh, really?
The lower swell is real.
There you go.
And I will preface this by saying I have not made up the fake ones. I have ripped this off the internet. Sadly, if I had more time, there was nothing I would have loved more than to make up fake ones. But it was not me. Loud puff.
Loud puff.
Loud puff.
I reckon it's true. Loud puff.
Loud puff ain't real, man.
No, it's not.
Why would there be a place called Loud Puff? Come on now.
Loud puff. Oh gosh, I don't. That came from your brain.
No, these are. I'm telling you, I've ripped these from the internet.
Oh,
So
right.
unfortunately,
Oh, right,
I wish I had the time to do this.
Oh, you're not being creative.
I didn't have time. I didn't expect. Poo puddle.
No, that can't be.
Poo puddle.
No.
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 No, you're
True.
right. It's not.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say. Imagine being like coming to you and you'd be like, "Oh, where are you from?" Oh, poo puddle.
Poo puddle.
You wouldn't live it down, would you?
Oh, fingering hose on here.
Is fingering hoe on here?
Fingering hose
oh,
on here.
wow! Wow. I remember a guy at a festival once. We were speaking, and he goes to me. He goes, "Oh yeah, where are you from?" Because we're from the same area. He goes, "Yeah, I'm from Fingering Hoe." And at the time, I didn't know what that was, and I thought this guy is definitely messing with me.
I'll do 2 more. Lickfold.
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 True.
Yeah, it's going true.
True. Yeah, I would love it for it to be true.
Lickfold is real.
It's real.
Feel free to
wow.
visit. And I'll do one more final one. We'll go for some good options. But I'll go for Coxdale. Just simple. Or actually, yeah, Coxdale. Coxdale.
True.
Wrong. You see, I made it. It sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds
like a real
like
place.
you'd be driving through that to get to Portsmouth.
Yeah, exactly. You go through all of them. You go through Coxdale, Open Mouth, Broken Wind. Broken Wind. Please
There's
tell me
no way that's true.
Broken Wind is real.
No,
There
it
is
can't be. No, there's no way.
Broken Wind. But I'm actually gonna live on air. I'm gonna research where the hell Broken Wind is, because
Wow.
that is my new favourite. Oh my god, it's in Scotland.
Broken Wind is in Scotland.
Yeah.
That's so iconic.
I'm looking at Broken Wind woodwind instrument repair.
Oh wow.
Broken Wind. I love that. What a brilliant place. It's in Aberdeenshire, apparently, I think. Class. Well,
yeah. With that,
on that note, are we going to play a song on the way out, or are we just going to...
I will play a song, but I'm not going to confirm to you what song that will be. I have still yet to understand.
This is the last bit of the game show. You tell me the song and I'll tell you
Yeah.
whether it's actually going to play or not.
Will Arctic Monkeys, Sculpted So Anything Goes, play?
I'm going to say it will.
It will. Maybe this time it will play.
Let's find out if I'm right.
Right.
Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
How am I supposed to manage my infallible beliefs while I'm sucking it to you, performing in Spanish on Italian TV? Sometime in the future, whilst wondering if your mother still ever thinks of me. Hallelujah, blank canvases lent against gallery walls, flowing towards sculptures of